You are tuned in to the New Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon at bringingdowntheband.com and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, and Team Backpack. Support the New Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/newoldheads.
Episode 102 of the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. I make beats. I have the hard drive to prove it. My computer is here, so I literally have the new hard drive to prove it. Longevity, how are you, sir?
Hello, Michael.
Good to
doing
see
all
you.
right. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good.
Now that you got a computer.
Yeah, I got one. I'm excited now. I've been struggling, man. As a creative, when you get that pulled away from you, it's tough. So
Yeah.
I gotta go pick that up tonight, and we'll see what it do. To my immediate left, Mr. Indianapolis is here. Mr. Wavy Light Skin Girls be loving me now. He is conditioned. He is doing better. Jay Moore is in the building.
What's going on, man?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Kicking but not high, flapping but can't fly.
I love the bars. I love the bars. And I see what you're doing on Instagram, man. You are getting better. You are making progress, my brother. I see you.
Once again, I say this every week, and I'm here. That's about your progress, not mine. It's what you have started to notice, not what I.
It's a beautiful thing to see your friends deal with issues and overcome them. It's a beautiful thing. So we praying for you, brother. I'm watching you out there. I see what you're doing.
Is that what it is? It's come down to prayer that I need to
I see the diversity. I see it.
Get over light-skinned women? Is that what it is?
I see the diversity, though. I knew you could do it. It's just a matter of you focusing and locking in.
Okay. All right.
I knew you could do it.
Whatever.
So good job, brother. Good job. We have a special.
Getting over, though.
Yeah, you just got to mental block. Just got to get over it mentally, and you could do it. You're doing it.
All right, I'm working right now.
We have a special guest. First time to the New Old Heads podcast. I'm a fan of this young man. I'm not a fan of most, but I'm a fan of this young man. He is I would consider him an artist.
Okay.
Activist as well. Not just an artist. I don't want to just put you out there as just an artist. My man Diop is in the building. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Yeah. I see you got your drink over there. Your
Yeah.
two-step.
Yeah.
You know
I'm
what I mean?
ready. I'm ready.
We want you comfortable. You know what I'm saying? We want you comfortable. So
Hell yeah.
relax, brother. We're gonna have a good time.
Bet.
But yeah, my man Diop is here. Our man Diop is here. It's the homie. He just dropped the album called Still Shining, so we'll talk about that a little later on as well. Episode 102, I have nothing for the numbers. I have literally nothing because there's no jersey that's 3 digits.
No.
What do you think?
Well, I think we could probably do 10 and 2, like we talked about.
Okay, 10 and 2. Shout out to Safe Driving. I hear we promote that.
We promote safe driving.
Yeah.
With
Anything else?
Probably. Were there any albums that came out on
So
October
Hot.
2nd?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, you got a great memory.
So hot. 10-2. I can't remember the year, though. I'm not going to front.
2015. Man, that seems so long ago.
Yeah.
I
Hanks
remember.
Jones.
I remember buying that record.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I think there was a party. Was there a release party at Coach's for that one? Kinda.
Probably was.
I feel like I was at Coach's for that one.
Yeah, we've done album release parties for Frozen Liquor there. At least Frozen Liquor there. Maybe even
Maybe
11.
it wasn't So Hot. Maybe I'm tripping.
No, we probably did.
I feel like I was there at
even
Coach's
if
for So Hot.
Even if it wasn't like official,
Right.
it was like, hey, we're gonna be here with CDs and
Yeah.
come check it out.
Yeah.
I just opened up a box in the room. I still have, because we only printed 75 of them, like
Oh,
the
wow.
custom signed joints.
Yeah.
We still have about 25 of them left.
I need one of those.
You got one, remember?
I want another one.
Oh, okay.
Just greedy.
I do have one though,
But yeah, that's what I
That's
like that
damn
album.
good.
But yeah, it's also 10-2 is also Grits' birthday.
shout out to the homie Grits.
So you know.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. That was a good time. That project is actually really, really good. So anybody that wants to look up some new music that is something different, something new, it'll be new to you.
Yeah.
Check out 𝐀𝐿 Jones. They got a nice catalog. That's Longevity and the homie Grits, local artist here, one of our good friends also. So
We have turned 𝐀𝐿 Jones into a new group.
yes, it is called the Section Leaders. Myself, Longevity, and Grits as well. We got a lot of great things that we're working
We
on.
got some EPs coming very soon.
Yes, back to back to back to back. So
Bang, bang.
bang. So let's go ahead and jump in. We're gonna jump right into involves music. Shout out to Memphis, north, south, east, west, adjacent. What am I missing?
Memphis suburbs, as well as the county seat and all unincorporated areas.
Thank you, sir. As well as Beale Street. Shout out to BB King.
Also shouts to Arkansas because it's close.
Whatever keeps us from getting smoked from Memphis, cool. We're going to start doing Arkansas. That's cool.
Lil Rock, you know.
Lil Rock. Yeah,
Remember Banging in
in
Lil Rock?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great documentary there. HBO, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I remember
HBO?
watching.
Yeah, they got busy in Little Rock. It was real out there.
Apparently.
So, yeah. So
No, but it was, they did a sequel to Banging in Little Rock where they came back and basically everybody was dead. It was just like following up, and there was like one guy who
so all the
was
guys
still trying to gangbang, and he was like 40, and
all the guys from the doc have passed when they went
pretty
back.
much. Either they didn't live there anymore, or they passed on.
Wow.
They might have been living in Memphis and just embarrassed that they were on that dock.
Hey,
perhaps.
let's.
Hey.
Oh, I'm
let's-
sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
Hey, okay, you want?
Isn't that wrong with Memphis? I ain't diss Memphis. I'm not stupid. We ain't diss Memphis. Shout out to Memphis. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, let's stop talking about.
Yeah, they might be outside. All right. So here's a question. This is one we were talking about prior to going on. As a tastemaker or someone that's a blogger, I get them confused. Hell, I don't know. As a tastemaker, are you responsible? Is there a responsibility to promote music or an artist that you are not fond of or that you don't like just because you have the platform to do so for the sake of the area that you're in? And I thought that was very interesting because I can't speak from that. I'm around people or all the time, Lone, for example, that are faced with that decision. I wouldn't know how to respond to it, like I said, because I'm not in that area. But Lone is a perfect person to talk about that, so we'll throw it to him first. Is there a responsibility, in your opinion, to just post everything based off, the cliche, it's for the city and we're trying to get everybody on for the city?
I see.
Or do you feel like there's a certain level of integrity or a brand that you've built?
It's a very fine line.
Okay.
There's two ways to look at this. There's the from the city angle, and then there's just the in general angle, right? So if from a tastemaker standpoint, if I'm talking about just as somebody who's going to share music in general that I like for my platform, I'm just going to share stuff that I like. But being, just for example's sake, since bringing down the band obviously is a part of this podcast, bringing down the band is a worldwide outlet. Let's say media company of sorts, a global. Our reach is all over the place. It's not just Indianapolis and Indiana. But we are based in Indiana, and we do share a lot of Indiana-based art, and we want to support the scene. So there has been in the past. I can say this. I've always felt a certain type of pressure of wanting to share local artists more so than not, and giving local artists more of the benefit of the doubt than not a lot of times. Even sometimes when the content wasn't necessarily as great as maybe the other content we were sharing, but because I wanted it to reach the platform. One of the mantra of bringing down the band is to showcase Indiana to the world and the world to Indiana musically. Mm-hmm. So we have that ingrained in us, but at the same time, it's also our responsibility to make sure that what we share has integrity and is a good representation of our best art here. So there's that fine line in there, I guess. But as a tastemaker, and I'm talking about myself and J Diff, and shouts to Brendan, who used to write for us, and David Peck, who used to write stuff for us as well, for the beats part and algorithmic, and everybody else that has chipped in from time to time.
Mike Spitz
for a while, yep. What I've always said is only share what you like. If you don't like it, don't give it the energy and just keep it moving. Don't have to dwell on it. Don't have to, it's just the way it is. Just keep it moving. Our submission process is 2-tiered. We have a submission email that somebody goes to our site. They fill out a form. It goes to an email address. I go through it and I give it a very, very simple listen. I'll listen just for particular things that I can't really describe in a sitting in like 2 minutes here. And I'll listen to it, and anything that I catch myself saying, ooh, that's dope, or I'm not sure, I forward it. Everything else, and I'm like, I just delete everything. And then whoever hits the second email will go through and give it a more thorough listen. So we give ourselves 2. Now, does everybody do that? I don't know. I don't know what everybody else does. But this is a good way for us to And also if you're from Indianapolis or Indiana, it normally automatically gets pushed over there anyways, just for a more thorough listen. Now, I don't want to ramble too far on in this question,
No,
but
go ahead.
But let me focus a little
You qualified. Where Beans at? You qualified.
Qualified. I do feel there's a responsibility in that aspect of it, but again, I'll just echo what I said. I'll let somebody else talk. I feel like it's my job to share what my taste is. It's my job to represent what the taste of Bringing Down the Band is and what we have defined what that is as a whole. And because we don't just represent our own personal tastes of music, we represent, like I said, we're trying to represent the taste of collectively of Indianapolis and the best of. So it's important for us to push what we like and not put energy in what we don't, and not bring people down that we don't like by writing bad reviews or anything like that.
Let's let Diop jump in. He's an artist as well, not the blog to my knowledge, run any website or anything, but you can speak from an artist's perspective, and also you can speak on being an artist, in a certain area or a certain city, so you understand the effect of having a record posted or an album posted. What would your take be? Would you kind of echo what Lone was talking about in terms of the integrity and putting out the product that you really, really are a fan of, or would you take the angle of, it's for the city? It's just for the city.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Long. So, if you don't enjoy it, if it doesn't inspire you, why post it? Because then if you're posting a lot of stuff, what does that do to the culture? And you're bringing a lack of discernment to it. And then other people see you post it, they'll assume, all right, he agrees with this. This is his standard of excellence. So if I'm a fan of him, then I'm going to mimic some of the things he pushes and he promotes. And then also we can look at it as similar to any platform. Your art is a platform. Your art is your brand. Do you want anybody rapping on your beats? Do you want any feature? Because then that speaks about your ability to execute and select high quality art. So I definitely don't believe that. And then I also feel like I'm doing a disservice if I'm posting somebody who I really don't believe the product is strong and I'm not giving them accurate information. True. Then I'm kind of setting them up for failure by not giving them the game that I got. And another thing I'll say is, as an artist, one of the things that we have to do now more than ever is build community. We have to be building a community online and physically. And communities are built around shared interests. So if I'm sharing stuff I really ain't interested in, am I building a community that has the same interest in my own brand, my own product? Probably not. And that's just like shooting myself in the foot. So, yeah.
True.
I could dig that. Jump in, Jay Moore.
Well, one of the things I know it's a kind of a running joke about how, especially at Take That Tuesday, where we say if you have any requests, please keep that shit to yourself. Not for nothing, but part of that is about having a standard, and it's about the people who come to Coaches. They want to hear what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've set a standard. Like Nick and I, of course we have other DJs in. But we're the tastemakers, because sometimes people will come up and request something like, we're definitely going to play that. But we don't care if it's your friend's birthday and she wants to hear the Rihanna song that comes on the radio every 15. Like, nothing against Rihanna. I think I actually dig a lot of her music, but
her last album was dope.
But there's absolutely no reason for us to play any of that at Take That Tuesday. It's not what people come to that particular venue for. So just like you talked about with your blog, or if you're making an album, people don't come to listen to a Diop project to hear certain things. They don't come to Bringing Down the Band to hear certain things. Like, you've established a standard, and you can't be a tastemaker of any kind if you haven't established a standard. Now, like, there are other places where I work where it's different. Like Tiki Bob's, I'm like, well, that's more of a but I don't take requests there either. But when someone comes to an old soul event, and we're doing Bad Boy Night, and I remember like when Trinidad James was hot, and it was like, can I hear Trinidad James? It's like, absolutely not. If that's what you wanted to hear, you could have went anywhere in the city.
That's a fact.
Like, we've set a standard for what it is that we're going to do here. And that's what it is to be a tastemaker. It's like you can't really fall under the pressure of
very true.
What's just popping right now. Because like if we'd have done that, you know, say at Coaches, we wouldn't be going into our 13th anniversary coming up. It's in March, but still.
And that's the same with bringing down the band. You know, like, so I answered from two different lenses. Because from the straight bringing down the band as far as tastemaker, like we've shared over 12,000 posts, right? That's a lot of music. Maybe 1,000 to 1,500 are like from Indiana. From the actual, this guy.
Shout out to Red August. We see you, brother.
From the angle of bringing down the band, we have only, there's never been any issue about what we share. But when you take it locally, that's when it gets a little complicated, because you want to support people. There's people that you've literally physically had conversations with. You want to support them. And then artists are very sensitive. It's just our nature. So you don't want to, you know, it's like it's a balancing act sometimes. So it's just like, okay, how can I support this person and also tell them at the same time, well, I just don't like this.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've given people features that I didn't honestly enjoy the art, but I valued the relationship, and they asked for it. And I could have said no, but I said, you know, on the strength of relationship, that's more important.
Right.
So I'm willing to compromise my art in this case. It's not going to be a standard I do all the time.
It's a one-by-one type thing.
Exactly. There's extra considerations in this time. But every time it pop up on Spotify, I'm going to feel some type of way.
Sure.
But that's because of the strength of that relationship, or what I'm trying to do with that relationship, or help that person. There's a lot of ways to provide support. It might not mean sharing your song.
Yeah.
It might mean building a relationship with you. Who's mixing you? How do you write your hooks? You know what I mean? Things of that nature.
Well, me, from the outside looking in, I can see how someone could say, they could use the angle of, oh, it's for the city, it's for the city, it's for the city.
Yeah.
So I could see that. But you've all made cases where I'm not mad at what you said in terms of from the coach's standpoint, from the artist standpoint, with you having a one-off situation where you talked about nurturing the relationship. I understand that. I get that. From a producer standpoint, I definitely know what that means. So I rock with that. Lone, yours is more complicated because you can speak from both lenses, or look through both lenses. But I can't say I'm mad at you because you thoroughly explained yourself as to why bringing down the band does what it does. I think it's all subjective, because there are some people that could look at it and say, hey, it's all about the city. You should just post everything for the city.
Yeah,
right?
But we're not that.
But we're not that.
But
so there's a great, I think there's a great area here. And I think a lot of this is subjective. If I were to lean a certain way, I would go with you all, because I have a certain standard from a production standpoint that I want to put out. And there would be a time where if there was a relationship that I wanted to nurture, and the quality of the product that I released with my name on it was a little bit, we'll call it subpar, a little bit below what I normally do or what I'm normally known for, that's going to bother me later.
Yes.
So I can relate with you there. From a producer standpoint, I totally get it.
Yep.
Right? I'm sorry, jump in, Jim.
No. I mean, it's just the thing is, someone could lean on that, oh, man, it's for the city. The thing is, yeah, it's for the city, and I'm not going to put us out there
like that.
Like that. You know, it's not. It's so hard not to make it personal, especially if you have a relationship with that person. But if you want to make it about it's the city, okay, I'm not putting this out because, like, I don't want this look for the city.
Yes, you're protecting the city. That's for the city.
That's what's for the city, is to make sure that we just don't put out all of this and it's going to have us looking some type of way. Like this is I'll tell this story because it's a few years ago now. My man Rec One, when he worked at Hot 96.3,
I love this story.
He had a spotlight where he would play a local song right before the Hot 9 at 9, I believe that's what it is. Yeah. And he got this message more than once because, you know, he was trying to do something for the locals, you know what I'm saying? Because there's always that thing about, all this radio station don't support the locals.
They never play local music.
Yeah. And so
educate yourself.
He actually got this message more than once. He's like, I want to thank you for playing that local record, it gives me something to laugh at.
Oh,
every day.
yeah, I remember. I remember you told me.
Like that was
Yeah.
a real thing. Like
Yeah.
people did not like, because people want to hear the songs that they know, and
Yeah.
they didn't appreciate hearing that local record that wasn't very
That's
good.
wrong.
But he, because he was trying to do something to keep the locals engaged and encouraged. But like at one point, what was being submitted, and he was playing the best of what was submitted.
Wow.
Because so like when you talk about For the City.
I mean, this translates into another topic. Really.
Go ahead.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Go ahead.
I forget what it was.
No, I need it. Go ahead. I need it.
No, you
you
forgot
can
what
bring
it
it
was.
back.
No, legitimately, it's not.
Oh,
It's not like I
man.
was holding back. Like I
I
legitimately
needed that. That was a genuine
Yeah.
moment right there.
really
It'll
was.
circle back.
in
Oh, I
my
needed
circle
that.
of life.
Okay,
You know,
we know about the circle of life.
circle of life. But yeah. Anyway, so that's
Yeah.
I'm with that.
man. I wish I had it because it was a good
You got me
transition.
hype. I
He was
said,
like, man, that transition was going to be fire.
Ooh, let me just slide in and slide out.
I think we've all made valid points for either side. Like you said, to me, this is subjective. At the end of the day, there are going to be some people that are just like, yo, I'm all about the city. Fine, but knowing all of us here, there's a certain standard. You got a product, you got a brand, and it takes years to build that brand. I remember bringing down the band from its infant stages to
For
now.
sure.
So I was there. So you work hard to put that out. I know you have. Coaches has.
Mhm.
I have. So you can't just be putting out what they say willy-nilly, putting out a whole bunch of stuff willy-nilly. So yeah. It is what it is. Hey, to each his own.
I think I remember what I was gonna say.
Give me
Okay.
the bars, Lone.
Give me
We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Even if you just give me a little bit, we'll make it work.
Nah, so we talked about you talked about artists and him playing music and the local people that listen to our radio station here saying, why are you playing the local music?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a stigma in general and in the city, in
Yeah.
this city,
Mhm.
and it's not necessarily just this city, but it is definitely in Indianapolis, and it's probably in multiple places around the world where people don't like to like stuff first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mm.
it's this like the whole idea of since we're a tastemaker bringing on the band, we've built our entire brand off of putting stuff that we feel people should pay attention to. If I like this Locksmith album, I'll share it. If I like this 2 Chainz record, I'll share it. If I like this Migos record, I'll share it. If I like this obscure Japanese producer, I'll share it. It doesn't matter what it is, and people will consume that. But I also know at the same time that a lot of people here, it would definitely do better here if we just shared music based around what was hot right now, mixed with some sort of popular story of some
Yeah.
sort of controversy.
Mm.
Yeah.
We would be national at this point, but we didn't do that. I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that aspect of people not wanting to like something because it's local,
Oh, yeah.
or and at the same time maybe because other people that they see as purveyors of the culture or whatnot aren't backing it major. Or
Yeah,
whatnot.
we were talking about this, and all of us were having conversations, obviously, prior to coming on. And I think you mentioned you were playing a record, and someone was kind of shocked. They didn't realize it was someone that was local. This is on something, either your project or just in general. And Lone and I have talked about this for years, about how people are scared to just jump out of the window and actually give credit, even if it is just something that you put out or whatever. Like, can you speak to what Lone said in terms of just putting out product and people being scared to actually jump on?
Yeah, man. So in reference to the example
Mhm.
you were speaking of, it was Baby Ebony. Shout out Baby Ebony. It was his new project called Spice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like there's a culture of, I guess, distrust. So people distrust an artist who's making music, especially hip hop music in Indianapolis or Indiana. And I think one of the reasons is a lot of people outside and within the state or the city don't view this as an environment that can produce good art in that genre. So, or they have a real narrow idea of what should come from here or what should sound like that. So one hurdle is getting people to just accept that possibility of great art coming from here exists. So that's one. Then you have to get them to hit play, right? Then after they hit play, you have to get them to say,
it's all good, brother. Don't worry about it.
like,
welcome. No, you all right. It's all right. It's all right.
I'm magic.
After, yeah, well, that was magic. After you get them to hit play, you have to get them to acknowledge they hit play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we have all these mental hurdles, and then get them to share it publicly and say, this is good. I vouch for this.
Talk to their friends about it.
Yeah. And I'm competing with all these other artists who pop up every day or who've been out and who are getting better every day, and then the national and international artists. So it's a competitive field, and we in an environment that feel like they don't even have a home team.
Yep.
So, that's a lot to work through. So I have to remind myself every time I get someone to hit play, say yes, and then share it, that is worth 10 times being in another environment that has an infrastructure, that has a culture that's supportive. So we have to focus on depth, not breadth.
I'm so glad you said that, because I have this conversation with people that I know that do music or that are upstart, someone that is just trying to get established. And I told them I learned the hard way. You have to pay attention to those people that are actually invested in you. Like, it's not about trying to force your friends to support you. That's dead. It's not about trying to get your best friends to like what you do. It's not about that. It's not about trying to get them to fill the show up for the sake of just having support.
Yeah.
It's about the people that are genuinely excited when you come out to the venue and they pull you to the side and they say, hey, I remember when you did XYZ, or I remember this, or those are the people that you must engage, and then you must develop relationships with, because they'll come back around. People miss that. Like, I've heard instances where people will say, well, I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to look like I'm paying for a show. To me, that's stupid, because it's not about you paying for the show. It's about the people that you can impress while you're there, and then develop relationships for those people.
Relationships
to me,
is a very key
relationships
word
are everything.
Everything.
We know that.
Focus on those that say yes.
Yes, that's it.
Don't focus on the ones that are saying, no, I don't have time. Focus on the ones that say yes, and then understand, why are they saying yes?
Right.
Those are the early adopters. And if you focus on them, they will wave your flag like they Bannerman, and they'll carry you on to other people. If you try to serve everybody or focus on why this person's not hitting play, you're not really collecting the information you need that suit the tool set you were equipped with. So I focus on those that say yes. Of course, I would love more numbers.
Sure.
Stream it up. Run my numbers up.
Sure.
But
I'll push play tonight when I go to sleep.
There you go.
And another beautiful thing about it being a select group of people, I can really figure out who they are.
Yeah.
I can invest in them too.
Mhm.
So it's not a one-way relationship. It's both of us, because a lot of them are artists, creatives, creative thinkers, and then you feed off that energy, which then enhances your art. So it's a conversation, it's a dialogue, and a lot of people don't look at it that way.
You must engage with those people, and you must develop what we call a core fan base.
Yeah.
Because your core is going to follow you,
Yep,
no matter
for
where
sure.
you go. If you develop a strong core, they will follow you, right? And I think a lot of people lose sight of that for the sake of appearance, for the sake of what other
Numbers.
people are going to say, for the sake of
Well,
numbers,
it's
perception.
the Hollywood aspect too.
Bingo.
People,
Yeah.
people want to
Bingo.
appear as Hollywood. Like they want. I'll never forget one time I went to a show with Terry, and this is in bringing down the band's heyday, when we were really doing a lot of stuff. And it was a Danny Brown show with somebody else there. It was when he was dressed up as Tigger.
Oh, okay.
And,
okay.
So we're in there, and we're standing over, and it's literally J Diff, myself, and Metronome, and we're sitting there just having a conversation about something. And this woman that I had met before manages some artist, and she brings this artist in, and she comes to have a conversation with us, and he's got. There's nothing wrong with sunglasses, but he's the sunglasses in the club guy at the Vogue,
Right.
and and walking with his manager and all that stuff. But it's just, we're just there to enjoy the show, and he's got this entire persona of this is what I am, and I couldn't help. It was probably one of the moments when he walked away that we all just kind of looked at each other and laughed because we know what we do within the city, and so he didn't know Not that there's a
Not that it would be like, oh, you don't know who I am.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like that's what we do, right? And so why couldn't you just have a conversation with me,
Right.
as a person?
Right.
Why do you
Human
have
to
to have
human.
this persona as you're bigger than
Well,
Yeah.
everything in Indianapolis,
Yeah.
mind you?
Yeah,
But,
you know
but you know,
I'm glad you
Ego
put that part in
shield.
there.
yeah, but you know that
I don't even know who he is. So there it is.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, we probably don't. We have never heard anything else from him.
Go ahead, Jay Moore.
Well, you know, the thing is, I think, and this isn't just about Indianapolis, but almost any place in the country needs to figure out what they're doing in Atlanta. Because, first of all, when you go to Atlanta and artists approach you or they're working, they're so humble. And the thing is, they support their own, like they have their own music scene that almost is an ecosystem outside of
is.
everything else.
And there's
That's a
multiple
fact.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, like, because I tell people this, like DJs, I say, what you need to do is go, go through. There's a certain website where you can look at the playlists of Atlanta radio stations. Go to the hip hop stations. You'll see that there's a whole bunch of stuff, and you'll be like, I don't even know what that is.
Yep.
I said, but you'll know about it in about 3 to 4 months. So you need to find out how you can get it now,
Yeah.
because that's what's going to be popping.
I remember going to A3C one year and just pulling in, as we were pulling in North Atlanta, literally a 𝐀𝐄𝐄 record came on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I remember thinking, they're playing 𝐀𝐄𝐄 in Atlanta
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing
that-
is, because you'll go to New York and, there's nothing special about their playlist because they're just playing whatever's popping on Billboard.
Right.
Yeah.
You go to Atlanta, like I said, you better be ready to hear what Atlanta has to offer because
Yeah.
that's how, like I said, it's its own musical ecosystem.
That's beautiful.
And there are a lot of really dope Atlanta people. So
Mhm.
shouts to all the Atlanta people out there that they're pushing the culture.
What I've always noticed about Atlanta is, and initially it used to shock me until I got used to it, and that was you'd see an up and coming artist, and you'd see an OG from Atlanta in the video. Like it'd be a random cutaway, and you see like Big Boy from Outkast in the
Mhm.
video, and I'm like, yo, how did he get that cosign? Right? Or you'll see, I don't know, Killer Mike, or you'll see somebody from Goody Mob, like Cujo, or somebody like
You'll
that. from
randomly
Goody
see
Mob.
like Bone Crusher or
Yeah,
something.
like, I see what you did there. Don't do that. Bone Crusher had a couple now.
No,
Don't do
I'm
that.
not hating on
hey,
Bone Crusher.
Nobody
Yeah.
that's under 18 knows who Bone Crusher is.
Don't do that, Jay Moore. He had a couple now.
No,
In
they
the club,
probably
what
don't.
was my joint outside
Never Scared.
the club? Yeah, he had a couple now.
Killer Mike was on that joint.
And you know I fool with Killer Mike. So you threw me off.
No,
with that.
I wasn't trying to hate on Bone
Don't
Crusher.
hate on Bone
Like,
Crusher,
we
man.
played Never Scared in the Tiki Bob's
He
last
had
week.
nice afro, nice natural. Don't do that.
He was in Def Jam Fight for New York. He was a nice character.
See,
in that.
you playing now. He playing now.
I'm not. It was a cool little game.
think I'm a bug?
Come on, man. Now you got him
Oh
started.
man, y'all wrong.
Anyway, and that joint was cold. Though,
I
by the
actually
way.
like that joint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that joint was cold.
He had a
Matter of
couple of
fact,
joints
what
I like.
didn't JD sign him? Was he on?
He was on Social Death.
So if they do this
They're
Social
go-
Death tour,
No,
he's
he's
gonna be
going on
there.
tour.
Yes. How many joints he gonna do?
He got 3 or 4.
Okay. Shout out to Bone Crusher. We see you out there. I done forgot. But nah, man, they you would see random people, like random OGs in the videos. And I'm just like, yo, how do they do that?
Well,
But
they got community, man.
It's the
Yeah.
culture. It's just the culture
Yeah.
down
New
there.
York people don't put they don't put rappers from the 80s
Facts.
and 90s into their videos. They don't say, "Hey, let's go see what the rapper Ja Lil is doing right now." Like I'm not, and that's not a diss, but like they're like, "Look, we're about right now," and that's about if they think they're doing something like going grabbing somebody old school, if they go find like Cameron and put him in the video. You know what I'm
Look,
saying?
man, the unity in the South is undefeated. Like that concept is undefeated because they're still rocking, and now you hear everything that's in the South. Like that sound has infiltrated the entire game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
Like it used to be the South was running things. Now it's like,
But
it's
you
just
know
what
what?
it is now.
I brought this up to somebody at Treese. Probably, I'd been tasting, so my flow was on another level.
okay.
I said, but the thing is, when you think about Atlanta, when you think about the '90s Atlanta, the LaFace sound, because that's who signed Goody Mob.
Oh, you
Right.
just lost a couple of them.
That's
you just
that's who
lost a couple
signed
of them there.
Outkast. And then LaFace defined it, kind of like making that the new Motown of the South.
Yes, sir.
LaFace, what's L.A. and Babyface? Where's Babyface from?
You know where he from?
Okay,
Yeah, we
right here in Indianapolis. And then even L.A., he's not from L.A. He's from Cincinnati, 90 minutes away.
Right.
You don't say.
You know, then you talk about right now. Where's Coach K from?
I think he's from Indianapolis.
Okay, so you got 2 generations of Atlanta music that are heavily influenced by people from Indianapolis.
Facts.
So, you know,
Makes me scratch my head about here.
so I'm just saying there's a connection that can be made. And, you know, you can't just think, oh, I'm in Indianapolis, I got to get down to Atlanta to make it happen. No, like we can make it happen right here.
Right.
You know, and
Absolutely.
I'm, you know, of course,
I
I'm
see
originally
it.
from St. Louis. I mean, like, we didn't like people from St. Louis. Like, there, I remember when Country Grammar came out and DJs. I remember Funkmaster Flex, somebody I knew who was working in New York, was like, man, this Country Grammar, this is whack, this, that, and the third.
Diamond.
But I tell you what, when it was time for Nelly to perform on the MTV Awards after he sold a couple million records, who was standing right behind him?
You don't say.
Exactly. Like everybody in the world was like, nah, this no one's gonna like this song.
Yeah.
I hated that song.
Yeah, but you know what? I honestly think
I liked it. I came home quick. Like I came
And it
home
was-
quick on that one.
But what was crazy, it was the first time I felt like, in a way, because being in St. Louis, like okay, Country Grammar came out 6 months.
It was a Midwest thing, though.
Yeah, it came out 6 months ahead of when the rest of the world found out about it. We were
True.
playing it like maybe that September, August, and it hit like in March the rest of the country. And so it was like that for all his singles, where we're like, oh yeah, we've been on that. Like, it was a crazy feeling to be like, tell somebody from New York, oh yeah, we've been on that.
Hey, low key, Murphy Lee could spit though. Is
Yeah.
anybody going to refute that? Don't do that.
Murphy Lee can rap.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
He
like-
he could rap. 16s. I give you that.
Nah, man.
I
Murphy Lee
can't-
was better
I
than
can't
that.
I
man.
can't remember hooks.
What
He
the
had a song-
hook
he had-
gonna
we had a
be?
song called
Remember
What the Hook Gonna
be? Man, he killed that, man.
What the hook gonna be? was
Don't do
the
that,
hook.
Diop. Don't do that. Don't do that, man. Don't do that.
No, but it just goes back to saying,
Murphy
it's
Lee
like,
has some heat now.
you know, sometimes you gotta. But the thing is, St. Louis decided they were going to trust in Nelly. Like Indianapolis, you know, like any local market has to just say, look, this is going to be our guy. We're not going to, we're not going to wait on you to like him.
That's a
Yeah.
fact.
I think we're getting closer, man.
Yeah, I think so.
I really
think
do
so.
think we are. And you know, I see small little communities, and I've seen them since I've been here, since about 2009 is when I moved here.
Mhm.
And I've seen little communities, and it's kind of been separate. But I see a lot of unity in how do I describe this? The segregated music communities
Mhm.
Mhm.
are not as segregated
No,
anymore.
you
and
said-
there's a lot more overlap.
No, it used to be
And-
like the underground, us at Locals Only.
Locals,
And then there was the people who would perform at Cloud 9, who was
Absolutely.
the people who were really trying to be on the radio, because, there were certain people who were like, look, there's no point in us taking stuff up to the radio. They're never going to play it. So,
Yeah, right.
like people like, Oreo Jones,
It's
like they
funny you
said, look,
said
I'm just
that.
going to do my thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to fight to get on the radio. There's no point.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to let my artistic
and that's
vision
kind of how
flourish.
we were. We were just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without
Jump in,
trying
Diop.
to fit in the
I-
radio.
Oh, I was just gonna say on the community part, yeah, I definitely feel like the community has grown
Okay.
immensely, and then I also feel like the products, the art,
it's
has
good,
way
man.
better.
got very good. Like we're talking about very great art being produced by artists here that can compete with anything.
Absolutely.
And it's so great. It's funny that you said like there was a time period where a lot of the stuff I made and my peers made, we'd be like, oh, we can't submit this to the radio. They're not going to even play it. But as time has continued, it's a lot of fans saying, no, you got this record and this record and this record that can go on the radio. He has this one. So it's a lot of the people who are being like, hey, we can hear this because we listen to the radio,
Mhm.
which then helps us identify better in terms of our bag of tricks. If we wanted to be intentional about what to submit, we got that feedback. And before, I didn't feel like we had that. So that's a good feeling to have.
That's actually that's good feedback there, brother.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying right there. We call that wisdom.
It's the full circle back around to people not wanting to hear local stuff on the radio. But,
Yeah.
but maybe they will one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes we just have to play it. I play stuff and I don't tell people it's local. I put it on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Judge it by the product. Let your ears and your appetite for music say yay or nay.
There you go.
There's a bias that is immediately going to be applied if you don't. If you're like, yo,
I think to your points too,
Uh-huh.
not to jump,
Go
but
ahead.
I think to your points, I think we're at a point now where the product coming out of Indianapolis is so good that we
Mhm.
can infuse it with our local DJs is too, as far as local club culture and stuff like that
Yes.
too, in different sets. I think there's a lot of artists that would fit really well in with Take That Tuesdays,
Mhm.
as well as maybe even a Tiki Bob's.
Right.
You know, you have different types of artists when you think of Ghost Gun and what they sound like,
Yep.
and even Action Jackson and Lemmy.
Right.
And then you have Diop, then you have, Double A, then you have Willis.
Yep.
Sirius is about to drop a new solo project that'll probably sound completely different than Ghost Gun Summer's project.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So far, and I could continue, but I'm going to stop. But I feel like we are in a really good place right now where we can probably infuse that a little bit more and kind of grow the community, mixed with even the DJs that are playing stuff out. Maybe that's one of the next steps. But
Mhm.
Well, to Jay Moore's point, he hit the nail on the head when he said St. Louis had it 6 months prior, but they were behind it, right?
Mhm.
So they embraced Nelly for who he was and actually put it behind him. Like it spoke, like it was on the radio. I'm sure people were calling in, requesting it. Like all that stuff matters because that enabled him to actually get to the point in March or whatever you said when it popped. Right,
Like
but that wasn't going to happen if the city didn't embrace it,
But
and get behind it.
because I remember thinking, man, if he could just go gold, that'll put a light on the city, and there'll be more people that come here.
Yeah.
And shoot, at one point, that's exactly what happened. They came, Chingy, Huey, like
it was.
they had a whole bunch of some groups that there was a group, shout to the whole nine. They were signed to MCA at one point. My man Mr. Kinetic, he knows all about them.
We see you, Mr. Kinetic.
There were a bunch of groups that got signed to Made. All of them didn't come out. Ebony Eyes, she put out a whole project.
We also locally, since Diop is here, I did see Indianapolis really get behind you when low key kind of had its push.
Yeah.
That's a good
like
point.
pretty majorly,
That's
with
a
the
good-
Spike Lee thing.
That was
Yeah.
I had never experienced anything like that in my life before, and it was actually my pops who told me, bro, you need to publicize this information because this is a win for the city. And I was like, you
Yeah.
think so? He's like, are you crazy? So when I did that, I started to see it meant something for the community that had nothing to really do with me. I was just a vessel. It was like a W for everybody. And the more I realized that, I was like, well, all right, well, we can get more of those. We can do that more, and we can all embrace the fruits of what comes from that. So, yeah, that was a lot of love. And fortunately, it helped me and Mandog propel. We just rode that energy, took that momentum, and then said, all right, now we really can't stop. Because if this is possible and then people support it, why would we not keep doing the behaviors and the practices and the tendencies we've built over the last year and then show other people how to do the same thing? Because if more of us can keep getting opportunities like that with the mindset of this is for all of us,
Absolutely.
then it's going to be for all of us. You know what I mean? But we got to be real with each other. I sat on that beat, that low-key beat. I sat on that for a year and a half.
Wow.
When Mandog sent it to me, I couldn't even, my vocals were messed up. And I just meditated on it. I wrote 3 different hooks. And I finally was like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I think it's good enough. And then you never know what'll come out of that. And that was in 2017. I did an interview last week, and they still asking me about that.
Wow.
And I appreciate it. I don't really want to talk about low key, but I understand why it's so impactful
Right.
that we have to talk about it. And anytime you put some art out or project, you want to make sure people have to talk about it. What did it do for the environment? Not just did it sound good? How did it impact the shape and the landscape of the playing field?
Yeah, and what we're talking about, Diop and Mandog put out a project, but one of the singles on that was Low Key, and it got chosen off of Spike Jones.
Spike Jones.
Shouts to Spike Jones.
It's all right. Shout out to Spike Jones.
Spike Lee's
She Gotta Have It.
She Gotta Have It,
Let's
episode 4, was it? Or
I can't even remember the episode, bro. I think so. I know it's Fat Joe
Fat Joe is in
yelling
the
at
scene,
the dancers.
in the scene.
Yeah.
So check that out on Netflix. But yeah, what else we got, Mike?
All right, so let's see. What we learned from that first segment was that Diop doesn't like Murphy Lee.
Is that what we got from that?
Yeah,
Hey, Murphy, I ain't say that, though, bro. I didn't say I did not like you.
I mean, St.
Diop
Louis is
said-
kind of close to Memphis. I mean,
Diop. What I took from that is Diop thinks Murphy Lee is trash.
Wow.
And
See.
he doesn't like the Saint Lunatics.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
You know
whoa,
what I'm
whoa,
saying?
whoa,
He
whoa,
thought
whoa.
Country Grammar was trash.
Pimp
That's what I
juice.
got.
Not my pimp juice.
Shout out to Sweat and Soup, man. Y'all know about that double album. They ain't paying,
All right, man. Let's get to the next.
J Moore, they ain't
before I
paying
have to-
attention.
no,
They not
before I have
paying
to,
attention.
You know, the St. Louis come out of me.
Yeah, I know how you get about St. Louis. I
Right,
apologize. All right. So we had some music that dropped again. Shout out to Memphis, all them areas. Little Rock, we see you. Styles P and Dave East, Beloved. I listened. Did y'all get a chance? Please tell me y'all heard that.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Okay.
For one
Oh, you
particular,
killing me, man.
for one particular reason. It's probably good, but I
Murphy
will,
Lee ain't on this.
hold on.
Wow.
I
man.
like
You just
like
gonna keep
both
going
of
with
them.
that.
I like both of them.
Okay.
But I will say Dave East has been putting out a lot of material that sounds the same. So I kind of was like,
All the same? You sure?
a lot of it sounds the same to me. It sounds like
From a production standpoint, from a subject matter standpoint,
subject matter, vocal tone, the beats he likes. Now his music is good. It is good.
Okay.
But if I feel like I might not get a new chapter or a new flavor, I'm not rushing to listen to it because I feel like I might have already heard it. So I saw it, then I'm thinking, well, maybe it's different with Styles. I'll circle back to it. So,
see, I don't know if I agree with that. Then again, I may not have listened to. I know he dropped a mixtape, and then he dropped. There was something that preceded Beloved. There's something that came out prior to that. I listened to that one. I'm not sure what came out, I guess, prior to that. So maybe I have to go back and listen. Like, I always look forward to his projects because I know he cares about the production. I know he cares about the sequencing of the album. I know he's usually good with his features. So I usually give him the benefit of the doubt. I probably differ from your opinion, but I see what you're saying. So I'm not mad at that.
Did you enjoy it? What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty dope, man, because they had what I was looking for with the 8 and 8. Like they were going in and out, like the 4-bar, 4-bar. I was wondering if they were going to do that because Styles and Jada have always bodied that style.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see if Dave East could kind of jump in that pocket. So it was pretty good, man. Good production from what I heard. I think the production was solid. The bar is always there. Subject matter, maybe it is. I'd have to go back and listen now with what you said, but I don't think so. But I'll go back and revisit just to see if I'm wrong. Good structure, like good features. So I was pleased with it.
How long of
I
it?
think they had 20. It might have been too
Oh,
long.
wow.
Though. Let me see.
Damn.
Don't quote me on that. Let me
Yeah, I
see.
was about to say.
Because
It's pushing an E40 record.
see, here
So
you
now
go.
I guess Davies and Fab got to do a joint project.
Oh man, I'm a Fab fan too, man. I love Fab.
Are you?
Those soul tapes.
I am, even though
Dope.
like when I listen to his music, I can't stop thinking about the whole thing with his wife. But I mean, I do like
I'm
the
not
music.
mad at that. I respect that.
I
I'm
do-
not mad at that.
I do like the music, Fab.
You know
but
what? I was thinking, Wayne. This is only this is 13 joints, so it's right to the point.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
nice.
I just listened to Wayne. They had like 35 joints or something on it. So
Yeah.
nah, this was heat though. I would suggest it for y'all. I would suggest it.
All
No,
right.
I mean I
Check
like
it out.
what.
Oh, you listen to?
No, I like what I heard. I mean, because I'm a Styles P fan.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like I really, I don't know. Maybe it's because like I like that, for lack of a better term, adult contemporary hip hop, where like it's people I remember from the '90s who are still putting out quality music.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, I was one of those people who really enjoyed Wu Block a couple years ago. Like, and I don't remember people really talking about that record, but I really like that.
Well, speaking of that,
I don't think I was one of those people.
Yeah.
speaking of that, Ghostface dropped the Lost tapes. Has anybody listened to that one?
I still
did.
I still got to go through and digest that.
haven't.
Like, cause I want, but I think this is why I wasn't in a rush to it. It's because I want to hear a Ghostface album. This is a Ghostface and Friends type situation.
Very true.
Ah.
Yeah.
very true.
So
Did you peep Diop? You
Nah,
didn't?
I haven't listened to it.
I think we probably differ on this one because I thought it was a grits is cool.
Mm-hmm. So what's the number?
Oh yeah.
And is it out of 5 or?
Are
out
we
of
doing
10?
10 or 5?
I'll do 5.
Okay.
You would do 5.
You just double it. And if
Yeah,
make it
I
out
know,
of 10,
right?
yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple
Right.
math. Yeah.
Yeah. To 5 just seemed, I don't know. All right.
We'll do
so,
10. It don't matter.
All right, I'll do 10. I'll give it I don't know, man. Maybe like a 5
Really?
and a half, maybe 6 on my first listen. And then
Okay.
here's why.
F.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Here's why. Some of the verses sounded pieced together to me. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Production was cool. And this probably will sound weird, but it's lost tapes, so I don't know how old the material is. Maybe they just threw some stuff together over older beats. It sounds like it's newer though. It doesn't sound like lost tapes are like maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. Like it sounds like they kind of just threw this one together and was like, we're gonna call it lost tapes.
Got you.
That kind of turned me off a little bit. Like E40 and the Snoop joint, I was like, all right, y'all definitely emailed these verses in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it just didn't grab me. I thought it was cool. I'll be honest. I thought it was cool. I know you had a different opinion, but it was cool.
I was expecting not to like it, and I didn't think it was too bad. I would probably give it a 3 out of 5, so maybe a 6 and a 6.5,
7,
a D minus,
maybe 7.
No, just kidding.
I mean, it wasn't bad. Like what I heard, it was solid. I think it was solid for my take. From one listen. I didn't overly intentionally, like I didn't listen to the bars or
For the
anything
record,
like that.
I did one as well, only one.
Yeah, so I mean, there's no such thing as 24-hour classics.
Please stop that, y'all. Stop that. That's stupid.
So,
where's the bell? I'm sorry. I gotta go. I'm sorry. Let me cook real quick. That's some fuck shit. Stop saying it's 24-hour classics. Listen to the music. Go ahead.
So you don't believe in the people who say the Carter
People
5
say
is the
that?
greatest album of all time?
There are people right now running around saying, "Oh man, we ain't got another classic." I'm like, it came out last week. What are you talking about?
It's not even good.
There's no way you can digest a full album, in my
If
opinion,
it's a
and be like, it's a
24-hour
classic.
It's not a
Stop.
classic based upon the dreariness of the anyway. So
Go
back
ahead.
to Ghostface.
We already talked about that.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to the word
Nah,
jury. I like that.
the whole album was rain on a Sunday afternoon. It was dark.
Except the special delivery remix.
That's not the name of the
It's
song,
Special
man.
delivery remix. They have a challenge for the special delivery remix.
Shout out to G-Dep for all y'all young folks out there.
Go listen to the real song.
Yeah.
Ghostface is actually on that too, the remix, I believe.
Yeah, they don't know that.
So, anyways, no, I liked it. I actually like Ghost Project. I mean, I've never not liked Ghost. He's
so
always
you
been able
biased?
to.
Not even Ghost D.
I am
the
a little
Wizard of
biased.
Poetry.
At least you admitted
If he's
it.
doing
Okay.
poetry, I don't like it.
No,
off
it was like
GP, but
no, it was like he did like an R&B album, the one with the green cover, and it looked like the Emerald City.
Come on, man. Come on,
I
man.
must not have heard that one.
It's definitely on Spotify.
I don't think I'm going to visit it either. But
Yeah, it's definitely on Spotify.
I don't know. I think it was okay. I don't know if I'm going to go back and listen to it. Nothing really stuck out to me. The beats sounded. I'll give it this. They didn't sound like Wu affiliate beats.
No, they weren't B- Wu affiliate beats.
The beats were actually kind of decent. I mean,
that's
were,
a real thing, Diop. There's such thing
I'm
as
learning
B-.
so much.
There's such thing as B- Wu affiliate beats. Those are the ones that
we don't
you got.
want none of that.
We don't want any B- C+ Wu affiliate beats.
You just
drums
started-
trash.
You just
we don't
started.
want any of that.
Hey, you just started producing this year,
Yeah,
and your project is better than B-Liz Wu-Tang affiliate beats.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I thought it was okay, and I was actually kind of surprised. So everybody that I mean, I was definitely on record saying that I didn't think I was going to like it.
That's true.
Thought it was going to sound pieced together. It didn't really sound overly pieced together, but maybe I wasn't listening hard enough.
Hey
So,
man, I'm just cool. Like I'm
okay. I mean, I'm only a little bit above you, anyways. But
with slight difference.
what else
but,
came out?
What else came out? We had
The
see.
T.I. We definitely want to talk about
T.I.
the
Dime
Oh,
Trap.
yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm coming to Diop first on this one. Diop, what'd you think about Dime Trap?
I liked it a lot. And I wasn't expecting to like it. And I'm a Tip fan. I am a Tip fan. But the last few projects just didn't connect to me. It didn't move me. It didn't make me want to keep going or revisit it. This one, I feel like from the production to the content he always raps well, to some of the features he selected. It just seemed like it was a lot of intentionality put into the project, and he really sat down and honed it. And I appreciate it. I replayed it. I played it for other people, and they was like, damn, this is a Tip rap. I said, yeah, bro, it's a new Tip. So, yeah, I really like it a lot. And he's seasoned. He sounds like what he should sound like at his age.
I called it
Not trying to sound young.
yeah. I called it mature trap. Like this is
Gotcha.
grown folks trap music.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's really doing a lot of self-reflecting. Like he's going deep into,
I mean, he
Stuff
quote unquote
tiny.
invented trap, though, right?
I mean, that's what he said. He did a drop album called Trap Music. Don't
one of
do
the
that.
one of the early contributors.
Don't do that.
We had a
we're not
full
doing
conversation.
We're
this
not
is-
doing this. I know where this can go. J Moore, I'm coming to you, but I want to ask this question as well since you heard it, and then Lone can chime in as
No, I
well.
didn't listen.
But I think you'll be able to chime in on what I'm gonna say. So I had this conversation. Shout out to my homie Deshaun. He brought a good point up to me. He said, "Well, how good can an album be, Mike, if it's full of features?" Now T.I. has on this album, he has 4 records that are just T.I. In my opinion, the features were not overshadowing features. They were just, compliment features. Do we think, and it's a 2-part question. One, I want to hear what you said about the album, and then I want to go to Lone to speak on, do you think features can cloud an album in terms of its classic status or how good it can be? But Jay Moore, tell me what you thought about the album first.
Well, no, I was surprised at how good the record was. Not because I don't think T.I. still makes good music, but the thing is, once again, we're getting to that area of what I like to call adult contemporary hip hop. T.I. is he's a trapper, he's a gangster, but he's a family man. He's a father, a husband.
Yeah,
and he's taking on a more political slant to a lot of his music and just what he says in his public life. So,
which I like.
And I'll say this is of course we got to interject a little bit of controversy. I feel like he's doing what Kanye thinks he's doing. Because that's
a whole nother show.
These records are
that's fairly accurate.
Are very personal. They're at times political. They're still fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just riding around, like I'm listening to a book report or nothing. Like, this is still T.I. making music that's fun to listen to, but he's still talking he's talking that political game. He's giving you something about his failings as a husband, and sort of like it's sort of in that lane of what Jay-Z did on 444.
I can appreciate that.
These are things that you're really going through,
yeah.
As opposed to making records about going to buy some red tennis shoes or some shit like that. Like, I mean, like, there's no point like in you trying to rap like you are 18 years old because we don't buy it.
Facts.
And I'm saying the kids who are listening to it who are 18, they're like, what is this old man talking about? So I appreciate the fact that he actually doesn't mind growing up, where there was a time where nobody wanted to grow up in hip hop, or they would just they make it seem like, okay, you're a running back who's 33 years old now. So like, the game, you don't get to
passed you by.
You don't get to be done with the game. The game is just done with you. And I see a lot of hip hop now that's like, no, we gonna talk that grown man talk. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think T.I. did it to such. He did it so well on this record. Like I said, it's fun to listen to. He's actually saying something, and but he's got something for the people who've been riding with him this whole time. So, shout out to T.I. This is an album that I was pleasantly surprised by, because like Diop said, the last couple, had some stuff on it that I liked, but it wasn't like when I was, trap music and even going back to I'm Serious, which I really enjoyed.
Good album
back in the day.
Certain artists are learning how to age very well and teaching a class on that.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I want to, Lone, real quick. I want you to address the album. Does it dilute the album if there are too many features, or can you still have an album that we would consider classic? Because my homie Deshaun made a good point. He's like, man, I don't know if I can really honor it if the features are overbearing. And it's
Is he rapping on every song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there's no melodies
and
crooning and none of that. Like he rapping.
I think. Well, I just mean I don't know. I think it's. I don't have a strong opinion that it can't be a classic if it has a lot of features.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but at the same time, it seems like it's different than what Ghostface Project was, which was just feature heavy on every song.
That's true. That's true.
Does it still feel like a T.I. album?
Definitely.
I would say it does. Would
you know what I mean?
T.I.?
So
yeah, I think it sounds like a T.I. album. And I mean, in my opinion, making a great album is not based on the amount that your voice is on it. It's based on, are the voices on it appropriate and bring out the best song?
Okay.
For me. So if you got 3 people on one song, I have a song on my album where I'm only on the hook.
Yeah.
And it might be the best song on my album.
That's
because
real.
the people I heard, they needed to occupy that space. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? And if you go overboard, then you go overboard. If you get it just right, it's perfect. It's perfect.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not. So I'm not mad at that at all. That's actually that's your producer hat right there. I see what you did there. I like that. You know how to lay back in the cut and let them cook. I like that in you.
Word.
Okay, I can dig it. I'm not mad at that. Deshaun, there's your answer, bro. All right, do we have anything popping in the city before we get out of here?
Well, let's talk
go
about Still Shining a little bit. Let's talk about Diop's album a little bit.
Yes, yeah. So you dropped Still Shining. I believe there are 9 records. 9 records. We listened to. I think I heard maybe 3 or 4 joints. As a person that has followed you, I'm gonna go ahead and say, probably echo what Lone was saying. This sounds like some of your best material, from a production standpoint, and also how you sound and how everything meshed together.
Well, it means his debut as a production, so it's your best production album, man.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is
Appreciate
the first joint. But no, I like what I heard thus far, man. I think you're on the right track. Kind of talk about real quick, if you can, as we prepare to wrap up. Just about your album and what you were looking to do with it.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. I think it's my best project, my best contribution overall. I think what I've been trying to do, which may not necessarily have been correct, but each of my previous projects were like different slivers sonically. Driving on Faith didn't sound like Black Dragon. Black Dragon didn't sound like Flow Flexing. Flow Flexing didn't sound like Vroom. But there are all different elements in there that I liked. So I'm like, all right, how can I take some of the best pieces from all of that and figure out how to weave them together? In terms on the production side, for the last 3 years, I kept telling Man Dog, I want to learn how to produce. And he was like, bro, you should. I think you'd be good at it, and it'll enhance your writing. So when I turned 30, I'm like, well, what's the best gift I can give myself? It's a new skill. So why not learn how to produce? And me and Man Dog were in the process, and Willis, we all started to build a studio together. So I got Ableton and I just jumped in. And then by having that studio, I could look over Willis's shoulders and watch how he approaches producing, and his tendencies, his preferences. And then the same for Man Dog. And then what they choose to sample, what they don't choose to sample, what tempos they like to occupy, what effects. And so it was just really a classroom for myself. And the way I kind of arrived at Still Shining is basically, as I was going through the process, I realized, first of all, producers age better than anyone else. If we talking about, and then you can decide, I don't want to be in the limelight. I don't want to speak to the camera. I don't want to go and do a show if I have that choice. And I think producers have that ability. But the more you invest in yourself, the more you put yourself in a position to shine, the more you put your relationships in a position to shine. So I just wanted to do that and learn it. And my timeline got sped up because I didn't really anticipate putting out any production work until about a year. But I trust my ear and I trust the people I work with who've been making music just as long as I've been. It's like, hey, it's ready. So, figure out how to weave a project together. So that's what I did, and we here now. So, yeah.
I like it, man. Y'all check that out, man. It's called Still Shining by Diop. I think it is on all major streaming services. We listened on Spotify. So we got iTunes and everything else.
Amazon, Tidal, Google Play, YouTube, the whole 9.
Yeah.
If for all you band campers, you can get it that way too.
That's old school at this point.
Right.
I love it because I still use Bandcamp. Everybody looks at
I'd
me
actually
like,
if Bandcamp had you made money off streaming Bandcamp, it would be a wrap to me.
it would be a wrap.
Yeah.
I still use Bandcamp.
Because I like the way their platform is really for independence.
Mm.
So if they had that,
Absolutely.
I'm with
And
it.
it's straightforward. It's right to the point. No bells
Anybody
and
still
whistles.
use SoundClick?
Sounds
Wow.
great.
Man, you
I started with SoundClick.
You lost an entire audience right there. All right. Anybody have anything that's popping this week before we get out of here?
Only thing I'll say is the build is next Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah,
At KI.
You both will be a part of that, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I talk about the build about once a month. This is one of the co-hosts.
There it is. That's what I was
Right
looking
on.
for. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But also, Sirius Black has an album release party for Major Threat at the Hi-Fi on Saturday.
Mhm.
Nice.
What else you guys got? Anything?
Let's see. All I really have is this week is I got Tiki Bob's on Thursday with Lemmy Vice and DJ Action Jackson, and every Tuesday at Coach's. You know what it is.
I like
Take
that swag right there.
Tuesday.
All right, so I think that'll do it for episode. What is this?
You
102.
can come take a
102.
class. Come take
102.
come take an Ableton class with me at Decademics. I got classes starting up next week.
And please join our Patreon site, www.patreon.com/New Old Heads. Starts at $1. So y'all come
$1.
check us out. I think that's it. Shout out to Red August in the building as well. He is doing what he does with these angles, helping us out. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate that, brother. Shout out to our sponsors as well. Make sure you pay those bills. Coleman Dental, 317-255-8546.
I saw him this week.
Shout out to Dr. Coleman. I need to get that cleaning.
I got my cleaning.
BringingDownTheBand.com. As always, shout out to Team Backpack, Printfinity, and also Indie CD and Vinyl.
Yep.
We just joined with them as well, so we got a lot of good things that will be coming up soon. So, yeah,
Sign up.
Yeah, sign up. Come check us out. Yeah, we appreciate you, brother.
Oh yeah, vice versa.
And we will see y'all next week. Peace.